Coming up in June, a series of sporting events for people over the age of 50 will take place in the Evansville area. The Indiana State Games highlights the importance of staying active as you age. We'll talk more about that next on WNIN Newsmakers. I'm April Nading, filling in for Amy Mangold. The role of maintaining an active lifestyle as you age is often emphasized as an important aspect of healthy living. Here to talk about that is Dr. Sarah Volkman, a geriatric physician at Deaconess Primary Care for Senior North Park. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me about how important is it to have exercise as part of your life as you're aging?
It's very important. In fact, taking it easy is often risky, and people that lose their inability to do things, it's often due to inactivity as opposed to being a consequence of aging. So you have a lot more to gain by being active and a lot more to lose by sitting too much.
Don't you think a lot of times though, as people age, they start thinking, well, I can't do that because I'm old, but at the same time, it's really, they're aging because they're not doing it.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of one of the myths of aging. So yeah, it's more risky to be sitting too much.
Well, what level of exercise do you think a person needs to benefit from it as they age?
Yeah, so the guidelines recommend that you get 150 minutes a week or 2.5 hours a week of moderate intensity exercise, which is like brisk walking, playing pickleball if you enjoy doing that, dancing. You also need 2 days where you do strength training, so whether that's with lifting weights or with resistance bands. And it's important that for older people that they do flexibility exercises, which can improve activities of everyday life, and then also work on balance. So that really reduces your risk of having falls.
So when you say like work on balance, would you say yoga, Tai Chi?
Yeah, so I was definitely going to get to that about the local resources in town that offer those opportunities to do balance training with Tai Chi, chair yoga, and you can do things at home. Right. Yeah.
And that was something I was going to point out or ask you about when you were talking about how many minutes someone needs. I wonder if people really have any idea of how many minutes they are or aren't exercising, and what would be a good way to keep track of that?
Yeah, so an easy way to think about it is to do 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. So sometimes that helps people breaking it down into those terms. And then, if you're retired, we often tell people, hey, do some in the morning and do some in the evening. Walk a mile in the morning and walk a mile in the evening. Try to do things to incorporate it into your routine that makes it easy for you.
What about things like pedometers and things like that? Do you think those are helpful, or do you recommend those for people?
Yeah, I see people with those type of things, and I think that can be beneficial.
I know, because I started trying to walk 10,000 steps a day, because that's one of the recommendations. So when I got my pedometer, the first time I looked at it, I think I'd walked maybe 2,000. And here I thought in my mind, oh, this is going to be a breeze. So I think those help, because it helps you see.
I think they help. And then the other devices like the Apple Watches and things give you encouragement, which is helpful. Making exercise a social thing can be beneficial. So when someone's encouraging you, it's helpful, having like a walking buddy or someone to do something with. And so a lot of times those devices, some of them, at least the Apple Watches and things, give you encouragement. You're doing great, or keep it up.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Same with, I think that's where classes are beneficial.
Right.
They're going to support each other, and there's an instructor encouraging. And
yes, exactly. My patients have better outcomes, I think, when they're doing more classes. And the YMCA offers aquatic classes for people with mobility issues, and people really enjoy those. And that's a really great thing for an older adult to do.
What about other benefits besides just physical? Are there other things people gain from having, improving their exercise activity?
Certainly. It definitely helps with mental health. It reduces your risk of depression. It reduces your stress levels. I often ask my patients when I see them, what matters most to you about your health? And most of them will say, my memory and my independence. And we know that exercise improves your independence, it improves your longevity, and it can also improve your cognition. There is some research that exercise can reduce your risk of certain types of dementia. And I know that's a worry for a lot of the older adults. So
I think it's a worry for everybody.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, but it's also a mood booster. I mean,
Definitely.
I think any kind of
Definitely.
exercise is a huge mood booster, right?
Oh yeah, improving your mental overall well-being. Yes.
Which I think sometimes it's a catch-22, because if someone is depressed, the last thing they want to do is get off the couch and exercise. But if they would, it can help alleviate depression, right?
Exactly. Yes, definitely improve depression, and something that I often will tell the patient and try to get them motivated to work on their lifestyle.
So are there any instances at all when people, as they're aging, maybe shouldn't exercise?
I mean, I think you should always check with your physician first before starting an exercise routine, but mostly anyone at any age with most physical or health conditions can do some form of physical activity. And so finding what works for you is the best way. And actually, physical activity can help with most chronic conditions like heart disease and diabetes and high blood pressure and arthritis and chronic pain. So it has a lot of benefits for those chronic health conditions.
Right, so maybe you'd have to take it slow starting off.
Right, exactly.
But it's going to get better the more you do it and help with those conditions like you were saying. So,
yeah.
What would you tell somebody, though, if they're out of shape? I mean, what would you recommend for them to do to get started?
Yeah, I mean, I think, staying with it, staying positive, and starting off slow. Don't push too hard when you're having exercise for a while and you're going to start doing it. But take advantage of the local resources in town, like we talked about, like SORCA. SORCA has a program that's only $30 annually for the whole year. Wow. And you can do all kinds of exercise to their programs. They have line dancing, they have Tai Chi, they have chair yoga. And I tell people, I think people enjoy that more than going, to Bob's Gym, where there's a lot of younger people. When you go to SORCA, you're among your peers, and you just think people seem to enjoy that more. And then the YMCA, they offer the Tai Chi, chair yoga, mat yoga. They offer silver sneakers. So there's really great resources in town, and taking advantage of that, I think, is a...
I could also see where maybe if they went to a gym, it could be too loud.
Right,
Especially
exactly.
if they're wearing any kind of hearing aids or something, that the sound could be a little overwhelming.
Yes, that's a very good point, definitely.
So being in a classroom setting that's geared for older people.
Right, and amongst your peers, where you feel more relaxed, and yeah.
And wouldn't you also say, though, that, and this could be also as far as helping with mood and everything, if they do go to classes, they're going to meet people, and it's
always tell
like
people that,
forcing them to be social in some
yes.
way.
my patients that I worry about social isolation, which is and loneliness, which is kind of another conversation, a little bit different than depression, but trying to encourage them to do these activities so that they meet people, because we've had a lot of success with that. They meet people and they get to eat lunch with them, and just through SORCA. So it's more than just exercise, definitely, that SORCA offers.
It all works together, and even though a lot of people poo-poo it, they think, oh, I don't need to exercise, it's going to help them in so many ways. Do you think, though, that it's ever too late to get started?
It's never too late. That's a myth too, I think. It's been too long, and I just can't do it anymore, and that's not true. You can start at any time, like we said. Start slow, but make it fun. Engage other people if you have other people around you, and make it a priority.
And the key word there, I think, is start. If you're starting, you're going to start off slow. I mean, like I started doing 5-minute planks. I didn't start doing 5-minute planks. I started with 30 seconds, worked up to a minute, and then I just kept adding on.
That's such a great example.
And it took a while. I didn't just start doing it, but I started the process.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people need to look at too, is they will make progress.
They will. That's exactly right. Stay with it. Yes.
Okay. So anything else you want to add about the importance of physical activity?
No. Well, yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about the local resources that we have. And then something in my office that we use is the National Institute on Aging. And so if you go to their website, they have a lot of great resources for older adults. And so I use this book. It's called Get Fit for Life for my patients. And so using National Institute on Aging is a great resource for older adults.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah. Thank you.
The Indiana State Games is an athletic competition for people over 50 that's based right here in Evansville. Holly Schneider, Executive Director, joins us now to tell us more about that. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Now tell me about what the Indiana State Games, what is it exactly?
It's actually the official senior games for the state of Indiana. We just took the word senior out in about 2015 to attract those people that are of the age of 50.
Okay, because senior technically is what?
65 or older, I think, was the perception, but our Indiana State Games begin at the age of 50.
So that it does. So how many people actually participate?
Hundreds of people.
Really?
Yes, we have people from all over the state and actually travel from across the nation to participate every year.
So from other states are coming to participate. Why would that be?
Well, it's part of that camaraderie when they travel and go to other states, because each state does have a senior games competition. So they meet other people or want to practice because they can advance to the national senior games as well.
Oh, okay. So would people from the Evansville competition maybe go to nationals, or what happens?
Right. So every other year is that qualification piece. And last year was the qualifier for this year's national senior games. So it's one of those things where you can compete just for your local regional area, just for fun, or if you choose, you can advance to the nationals.
Wow, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah. So I assume they get trophies, ribbons,
medals,
like,
gold,
medals, okay.
silver, and bronze.
Really? Okay. Wow. So how can people participate in this?
So this is by indianastategames.org. We have a website. You can go check out all the sports. There's 25 to choose from, even some mental activity events as well. So it's 5-year increments. You compete with your peers by gender, age, and sport.
So talking about you said there's some mental games. What are those?
We added card games like Clabber for the local area, euchre, chess, dominoes, and even a trivia night.
And I guess a lot of people participate in those as well.
Yes, absolutely. And just for the card game events, there's no fee for that. So for the Indiana State Games, there is a $40 registration fee to cover those 25 events. Some events have an add-on fee, or if someone just wants to do the trivia night, it's actually just ages 21 and over, just to get people involved. Kind of our feeder program as well to get into the games. And it's just $10 to do that event.
So if you paid the $40 fee, then you could participate in as many activities as you want?
That's right.
Okay. And so do you have a lot of people who are doing that?
Yes, yes. There are those that just stick to one sport. They just maybe are wanting to be a swimmer or track and field or archer, but some absolutely will participate in multiple sports.
Now, how is Evansville a place where this is happening?
Well, actually, Evansville's been a host of the Senior Games since 1986.
Really?
It's been under different names, different capacities, different organizations have hosted it. And then in 2015, we took the name Senior out of it, as I said. So Indiana State Games became that host for the national qualifier, as mentioned, to advance people every other year. So it's just something that we're just trying to keep in the community, because this is where our volunteer base is. This is where the venues are that we use, and Evansville as a community has really taken a hold of it.
So where are most of the venues when it's taking place in Evansville? Where would they find it?
Yeah, so all over. Actually, we go from Posey County all the way to Wirt County. Cycling is in Posey County, and then we have SWERCA hosts our shuffleboard event. The Evansville Tennis Center hosts tennis, pickleball, and this year cornhole. We have some events at University of Evansville, and then Castle has track and field, so all over the region.
Wow, so there's a lot of opportunities to go to a lot of different places, even, not just participate in a bunch of activities. They can.
Exactly.
What about if people just want to watch?
Oh, spectators are the best. We have there's some great photos too from a grandchild holding up a big sign for grandma saying, "I love you, grandma, go," and that sort of thing. So they love to have that. You know, we want to see a full stadium for the people running that 50-meter dash or whatever they're participating in.
So do they pay a fee to watch? No.
It's free to be a spectator, free to be a volunteer too. So perhaps there's people out there that aren't able to participate. We do utilize about 200 volunteers to host. It's over a 10-day span from June 8th through 16th at all these locations. So we do get the community involved that way too.
So it's a mini little Olympics.
It is the Olympics. per that, we can't use that trademarked name.
Sure.
But these are Olympic style events.
You're not going to have the rings on your shirts.
Right.
But why do you think this is important for seniors? I know you took the senior out, but for aging people, how about that?
Absolutely. So as stated from others on this show, it gives you something to strive for and continue for. Maybe you've never done anything. Maybe your doctor said you really need to get in shape, so you want to start off with something small. Maybe you've enjoyed bowling and you don't think that's a physical activity, but it is. You're still getting out there and moving. So it's just important to keep moving, or it gives you something to look forward to. Some people train all year long. Maybe they are in their 80s and they're still running. and they don't see that they're in their 80s. They still go over to the side, practice their stride outs, their warm-ups, just as if they did when they were collegiate, or if they just started out in their 60s. They just want to get in shape, warm up, and do it properly for healthy benefit.
So this helps give everyone a goal, another reason to stay in shape. I mean, there should be that goal anyway, to stay in shape, just to help you age better. But this is something else that adds a little more incentive.
It does. And then when you meet people and you're amongst peers participating in all these things, and then you have your family cheering you on. Some don't have family to cheer them on. So these other athletes are that. They line up at the line and they're, that's your opponent. But then when they're finished, they'll fist bump, they'll hug, they'll congratulate each other even if they didn't win.
So do you see a lot of people who are coming back every year?
Yes, absolutely. The retention for people coming back is high because they do see that valued benefit. Occasionally it may be their family vacation, but I have been told some, what are the dates next year, so that they can plan that in their schedule so they don't have to miss on the opportunity.
Are there many people from Evansville, or maybe you may not be aware, who do travel around to other states to participate?
Yes, I'd say about 10% of those that participate here do travel to other locations, Tennessee, Ohio, maybe even Kentucky to participate.
What is the most popular event in Evansville?
There's actually two, and they're pretty close to each other, track and field and pickleball. However, pickleball I think is getting the edge. It is taking it a little further. It is hosted later in August. Because of that reason, we have its own weekend just to allow for the participation. We usually have a couple of hundred people over the age of 50 at that event, and track and field is now around 120.
Wow. Now, track and field, how many different events are in the track and field competition?
13. So you have your 50 meter, 100, 200, 400, 800, 1500 meter running events, and then the field events of shot put, discus, javelin, long jump, triple jump, high jump, pole vault.
Pole vault, okay. So is that something, sometimes people just come in and decide they want to do that? No.
I'd say your pole vaulters, they are an experienced athlete because you do have to have your own equipment to participate in those field events. We do have some shot put and discs on hand, and I did have a lady, April, you're going to love this. She called me last year, Holly, I really want to participate in these games. I just want to throw something. Like, okay. To make you feel better? Yes, I just want to throw something. So she did arrive at the events. The ladies took her in, showed her the proper technique, and she got to throw something. And that made her year. She really felt great about that.
What'd she throw?
Shot put.
Shot put. Well, it sounds like a lot of fun. And so, again, what are the dates for that?
June 8th through 16th, starting archery all the way to cornhole, track and fields, oh gosh, there's so many, table tennis, tennis. I'm trying to go through it all in my head.
So if people go to the website, they'd be able to find when every event is and where, since you said they're kind of spread out.
Right.
What about if it rains for track and field?
So we would look at that and see with the venue what our choices would be for that. We run in the rain. You do participate in the rain. Now, if it's bad weather, that's a little different story. Yeah.
All right, well, thanks so much for joining us. Can't wait.
Thank you so much.
Now we're joined by a few participants in the Indiana State Games, Lance Farr and Elaine Cameron. Thanks so much for being here. Now tell me how long you've been participating in the Indiana State Games.
I've been participating since my early 50s.
So just a couple years?
Yeah, just a few years. I'll be 65 in August.
Woohoo, so, yay.
I've got a few state games and national games under my belt.
And what about you?
Probably the last 3 years.
The last 3 years? Okay. Now, what made you decide to get involved with it?
Well, I've just been real active with sports, and then I've heard about it from a friend. I said, well, I'm going to give it a try. I play a lot of pickleball, and so that was my main sport. And then last year I did more. Did bowling. This year I'm going to add shuffleboard, and I did cornhole and quite a few others.
So tell me, what events do you participate in?
I'm in cycling and also power walk.
Cycling. And so is this something that you did before? I mean, or did you just take it up later in life, or how did that happen
for me? I have been cycling my whole life and always liked to race, and so I was racing since my early 20s. And as I've gotten older, I looked forward to being able to race with people my own age, because racing the younger guys is a little tough.
It's a little different, isn't it?
It is. It is. Yeah.
So what about, what is your journey in being active? I mean, I know you were talking about how you have always been active, but it's just changed a little bit. I mean, as you've aged, is that how you would pretty much describe it?
I try to take it how I can for myself. I do this for me. So I take it step by step. I started powerlifting at the Pitt Barbell Club. So I just love that, and I do free weights as well. So you add a little. I just don't go full force and just try to lift the heaviest that I can. I just try to take it easy. And walking, play a lot of pickleball, whatever I can do, I just will try it. I just have to do it my way, best way I can do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, what about you? Do you cycle every day, or how
I do. Even through the winter, I've got a bike that I can set up inside the house and ride virtually, and also ride outside. And then the walking, for the power walk, I can get out and walk pretty much all year round.
Well, what about participating in the games? What is that like? I mean, is it, I would say it's pretty exciting, especially if you place in any of your events.
It is exciting. For me, one of the most inspiring things is watching people that are 10, 20, 30 years older than I am that are participating. You see somebody out there that's 80 years old running a mile or a 50-yard dash. It's amazing what these folks are doing, and it just inspires you to keep going because you want to be like them when you're that age.
Right.
It does. We have a 86 or 87-year-old lady. She plays pickleball, and she does a lot of the other sports as well. She'll do shuffleboard, and she'll try it all. So that is amazing to me. And last year, I think, was my first year that I started adding more, adding some more events, because the social part of it too is so fun, and we'll get to laughing, and we just do it for fun.
So do you all have friends who participate with you, or you just make friends there?
Both.
Right.
Friends, and my wife participates. She took up, she's done power walking, running, long jump, took up shot put, discus, and javelin. And so people take up different sports they maybe have never done in their lives and decide to try something and find out they're pretty good at it.
So then would you say people could do it if they haven't necessarily been training to do javelin, for example, that someone who's maybe that's watching this show, they might decide that they want to participate?
And I plan to do javelin this year. So the partner that was there when I was playing cornhole, just doing singles, he didn't have a partner. He said, hey, will you partner mixed doubles in cornhole, bowling, whatever? I said, sure. And he's doing javelin throw this year. So I'm going to try it. Holly said she's going to try to get some javelin, there for this year. So I may try that. So new people that you meet there, you make friends with, and they'll pull you into the other sports there.
Oh, I see. So it's kind of a motivational thing.
It is.
That
It is.
Yeah.
You
Most of
didn't
the people I've met that had never done sport throughout their life, and they think, oh, I didn't do anything in high school, or
Right.
but then they decide to pick up something and they find out they're really, really good at it. And so it doesn't matter if you've not ever done anything, if you've never been competitive or never done any type of this type of activity, but get involved with it a little at a time, and you find out that you have fun and you're good at something that you didn't think you were good at.
Well, what kind of shape do you think somebody has to be in to participate in the games?
Some of the older ladies I know, they just go out and they try it, and you'll be amazed how good they are. Like I'll start practicing several months prior to help me out. But yeah, you don't have to be in super tip-top shape. You have to be able to move and whatnot. But yeah, I'm amazed with some of the older seniors that get involved.
What kind of difference do you think has made for you in your lives that you are staying in shape and being active?
For me, it helps me mentally and physically. It's a good stress reliever. Whenever I'm having a hard day, my wife will just tell me, go out for a ride, you need to get out of here. And so,
maybe you need to get on your bicycle.
Exactly.
It's a therapy, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a therapy to it.
Yes.
It just helps you keep things balanced, and then you feel like you can physically do things. If you have to go up a set of stairs, I don't get winded. You just are able to live life a little better, being able to keep active.
Right. And the grandkids, you can keep up with the grandkids a little bit better. They like that when you can be active with them. So
it really does. It makes
Yeah.
a difference with, not just with yourself, but with
Right.
the people around you.
Yeah.
So I mean, what would you tell somebody who hasn't been getting off the couch or doing anything? What would you suggest or tell them to do, encourage them?
Just start, do something. Get out and walk a little bit. Just get out and start moving, and then build from there.
yeah, that's what I would do. And I say, well, hey, I will go with you. If you want to go for a short walk, I'll go with you. Why don't we try this? I'll be right with you, and we could, do what we could do.
No, and I think that's great, because I know a lot of times I'll tell people, just walk to the mailbox today,
Yes.
and then if you're not winded, walk a little farther, and then maybe you can add on to that. And it's not necessarily to compete,
Right.
but it's just to be living a better life and
That's
feeling
right,
better.
Right.
The mood, just like the doctor said, the mood, it just makes all the difference, all the way around. For me, it does anyway.
No, it does.
Yeah.
I agree, and it's also, it doesn't make you feel like you're aging
Right.
when you're keeping yourself active. So.
Right.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck at the games.
Well, thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
having us.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thanks for joining us to learn more about active aging and the Indiana State Games. Next week, we'll be highlighting some of the summer events happening in our region. Thanks for watching WNIN Newsmakers.